welcome back to Summit Point Raceway for round 8 of the British Touring Car Championship here on BSR TV with me, Chris Cohen, and Matt Dalton. Welcome back, Matt. I believe he's gone. So Matt will be joining us shortly, no doubt. And we're just warming up here, about 4 minutes to go before we head to the grid for round 8. In the meantime, while we're waiting, for all of those who have never driven the Kia before, here's a quick preview. And we've got about 3 or so minutes to go. On your screen it says 12 minutes. It's actually 12 laps. It should say 12 laps, so apologies for that. 12 lap race here from Summit Point. We've just seen one 12 lap race go by in which Stelian Chepelevsky absolutely dominated. Led from pole to flag, took that victory, well deserved as well, and Richard Wilde from second on the grid disconnected from the race after a bit of a turn 1 incident as well. So second place was taken rather unexpectedly, but delighted for him. That's Mark Fletcher who came home in second in that race, and then Andreas Katz third, not doing his championship any harm at all, coming home in third, and Simon Field, who continues to finish strongly, much improved over last season, was in fourth. So wondering if Matt has rejoined us.
He has indeed.
And welcome back, Matt.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
And this is going to be the crucial race, if you like, for those who are in about the 10th position on the grid, isn't it? Because if you finish 10th, you're on pole for the next race.
Absolutely.
It should be very interesting as well, because we were talking to Scott Malcolm just a while ago about his 12th place finish and just being able to get 2 places. But of course, the further up the grid you get, the more difficult it's going to be. But there is a big opportunity off the line, isn't there? You don't want to push it too hard, because it's very easy to get involved in a turn 1 incident. If you can make up any of those positions, you should really go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's, you know, everybody's going to want that 10th place. Everybody behind 10th place is going to want to move up, and the guys in front probably won't object too much if they go back a little bit, and that's going to make it really interesting the first couple of laps. I would expect a little bit more bump and run and a bit more contact in this round.
And what about the third round? I mean, it often gets more aggressive. People start off quite cautious and then think, well, you know, I've only got one race to go, I might as well. Do you think it just gets more aggressive as the evening progresses?
Possibly, yeah. I would expect this one to be the one that you know, is the real combative round. But then, of course, in round 3, you have the guys who are very quick starting at the back and have to fight their way through. So, yeah, you know, it's all close fought and everybody's on similar pace. So it's, you know, it's always going to be a battle, and they're all going to be all over each other.
And realistically, another win for Chepelevsky?
I think, barring anybody getting in front of him and upsetting him in the first corner, I think he's got the edge on pace to get away a little bit. How much Mark Fletcher lost in terms of time and defending to Andreas Katz at the end of that one is an interesting question, but we'll find out shortly.
Well, could you, I mean, barring mistakes, we haven't seen a lot of mistakes from Chepelevsky. He's not immune to them by any means, but we see one of the UASs kind of getting a little bit sideways, and he's off into the trees in the background. That's nasty, but could you have seen Fletcher? Has he got the pace to get past Chepelevsky?
Well, I mean, they ran all close within the last race pretty consistently, so the pace is, is clearly there.
Well, we're just about to head to the grid now for round 8 of the iRacing British Touring Car Championship from Summit Point Raceway. There is the grid in front of you. Chepelevsky will lead the pack. His Addison Lee is on the left-hand side of your picture. Andreas Katz with the green mirrors is just in behind. The blue car on the right is the Airwaves Racing of Mark Fletcher. And behind him, shortly, will appear that yellow and black car of Simon Field. And now one guy who's going to be wanting to come through the field, to excuse a pun, is going to be Richard Wilde, who disconnected from the last race, so he might be one to watch because he's going to be starting near the back.
Yeah, he's in the red zone, definitely. I mean, you've got Rob Burton, and a few others back there. That I'm predicting carnage at the back there in this first corner.
And the lights are ready to go. All the cars are now lined up on the grid for round 8 of the iRacing British Touring Car Championship. We are go from Summit Point as the cars make their way off the line. Katz once again goes into the middle of the track, but a slow start from Rob Fagg, and there's all kinds of carnage already behind. Look at that, there's about 6 wide going down into the pit entry, and one of the Jack Goffs has just gone sideways as we switched a picture there, so
somebody on the grass as well.
Oh, sideways Addison Lee almost takes out Simon Field. Simon Field's off onto the grass. He's going to shed a few places there. Everyone else is looking okay. We've got a backwards car there. That's one of the dyno jets.
Oh, it's all gone to carnage behind there.
And the Yuasa has gone sideways as well, unfortunately. So let's see how in front of the grid on the first lap. Stepalewski there.
Simon Field's recovered himself to seventh, so he looks like he's still going.
Well, that's good news indeed, as the cars come through the hairpin for the first time. There's 2 CQRs doing quite well there. It's good to see, and everyone else is starting to fan out a little bit. So as we rejoin the front of the pack, we're just going to reset the timing and see if we can get any accurate information on positions. Well, I still don't have it up to date, I'm afraid. But Chepelevsky...
Yeah, Stelian Chepelevsky is doing he's trying to do a disappearing act at the front here. He's pushing hard.
He almost is doing a disappearing act from a connection point of view because he's blinking quite badly. But who is that in 4th? Is that Ublev? Ublev is in 4th.
Wow, that's a great start. I mean, he's really come through. So,
4th is Ublev, 5th is Fagg, 6th is Terry, 7th is McGarity, and Field has dropped down to 10th place, Matt, which is disappointing, but it looked like he was avoiding a sliding car at the first corner.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened. He definitely did a bit of rally crossing, and then when he came back on, there were already a couple of guys in front of him who had some contact. It's going to be interesting to see what Simon chooses to do here, though, with the perspective of the third race. If he's in that 10th spot, the temptation has to be there to just hold station.
Oh, and Ublev's gone very slow there. Fagg's right on his tail, and in fact, look at Fletcher. He's right on the back of Stelian Chepelevsky, which is something I didn't quite expect. Let's have a quick look from Mark Fletcher's point of view. He's really going for it this time.
Yeah, he's all over him. I mean, he's got to be thinking that if he can give him a little bump and just upset his rhythm, then they stand a chance. I mean, otherwise, I think Chepelevsky, could easily do a runner at the front there.
There's cars coming out of the pits there. They want to watch out for those. Oh, that was close. And there's more cars. We're going to go switch the camera down to turn 1 here, but there's a lot of cars coming out of the pits from that first lap, and this could be worrying. So Katz has passed his eBay teammate. The front 4 are through, Fagg's through. Everyone's filing around the outside. Terry's been held up there as well.
Marks and Spencer's underwear department is going to be making an absolute fortune next week.
Katz down the inside. Katz has gone off.
Katz has gone off.
He's into the barriers.
He's into the barriers.
Oh dear, that's a terrible corner. And he looked like he was making a move there, but that's pushed Fagg up into 4th and Ublev up into 5th. So a rare mistake from Andreas Katz.
That's very unlike Andreas. Something possibly happened there. I'm not quite sure what happened.
Well, let's see if we can
definitely was out of shape.
See if we can perhaps get an on board from Katz's car coming into that corner. We didn't quite go back far enough, so let's wind the tape back a little bit more. He's looking to make an inside move down into turn 2 on Fletcher. And yeah, he's just lost it on the brakes. There was no contact.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, really uncharacteristic, and he's got a lot of damage, so he's going to be making his way back to the pits very slowly.
Yep, but what that has done is allowed a bit of a gap and a bit of breathing room for Mark Fletcher. So if he has got the pace to challenge Chepelevsky, then he's got a bit of breathing room behind him. He can really have a go at that now.
And then we're looking at the Black Addison Lee of Ublev, followed by Fagg in 4th place, and Terry now up to 5th, looking very competitive. Terry just gets stronger and stronger, Matt. Oh, and that's Fletcher going wide. At the same point, Katz made a mistake last lap. He's held it. Fag's gone wide as well. Fletcher there getting very wide, and that has given Chapelewski an even bigger advantage. So Fletcher is now under pressure from Ublev, who's in third position, who's doing absolutely fantastically well.
Yeah, he's on a good run, and I think that answers the question of whether or not he had the pace for Chapelewski or not. He clearly having to push too hard trying to catch up. He may decide now just to settle for P2 and steady it down a little bit. Ublev's on a great run. Robert Fagg has got to be looking pretty happy with his position, and of course he's... Adam Terry is sitting pretty there as well.
So we've got 4 cars
P5.
all battling for the second place, as one of the Dino Jets is just coming out of the pits there, and Chapelewski now has a 2.5 second lead after only 4 laps gone, so he's doing pretty well. Field meanwhile has clawed his way back to 7th from 10th. He was in 10th. It is 7th.
Yeah, and meanwhile Scott Malcolm, as I said before, there will be Iron Brew everywhere. He'll be going nuts. He is up to 8th place, which is Malcolm a fantastic run.
And look at this, Hefford up to 9th. And Martin Johnson in the lead CQR car is up to 10th position here. He'll be delighted with that as well. His teammate Burleson is 2 places back in 12th at the moment. So Chapelewski's lead is fairly consistent at the moment. He is blinking though, so have we seen Chapelewski disconnect yet? I don't think we have.
No, but he's definitely threatening it at the moment, isn't he? He's bouncing around all over the place.
Yeah, and it's really unfortunate. It must be so frustrating when you lose out through a disconnection. Richard Wilde didn't get off to a good start. He's a lap down in 34th position. So championship leader Matt missing out on any points from the first 2 races.
He's having a shocker tonight, isn't he? And it just goes to show that you make one mistake in one race, and and it can all come back and bite you. And I think his wasn't a mistake; it was a technical issue with the connection. But
look at this, just behind now. Sorry to interrupt there, but we've got a lot of action going on down start-finish straight, and some of those are back markers, so it's hard to see. And one of the Jack Goffs has gone off, and the CQR Fanta has followed him off the track, unfortunately. They are both back markers though, so nothing to worry about there. Well, it is to worry about for them.
Yeah, Stephen McGarry's having a good run as well, up to P6. That's a fantastic run for him.
And he's now being chased down by a recovering Simon Field, who will want that 6th place. So, we've gone to the wrong car there. I was hoping we'd cut to Simon Field, but there we go. Simon Field is going to want to get past McGarity, so let's see how he does here. Should be able to do it, shouldn't he? Definitely has the pace.
It certainly looks that way. It's going to be interesting here. You've got McGarity and all, they're all catching up to the back of Peter Van Gool there, so that's going to be interesting to see if he gets in the way.
Ellis Stevens, meanwhile, is down in 18th position, so he's recovered well because he started in the 30s, I believe.
Ellis was near enough dead last, wasn't he? So, yeah. Ellis started 34th place, so he's had some run as well. And this is what I was saying with Ellis, though. I mean, he is good at that. He's good at keeping himself clean and staying out of trouble. Like, try not to put the commentator's curse on him this time, because I did in the last race, so I owe him one for that. So
we're just looking down into turn 1 there, as we're seeing Stephen Hefford go a little bit wide. He's dropped a lot of time there, and Johnson's going to be on the back of him, but he's gone wide as well. So 2 mistakes from 9th and 10th position there. Dan Hunt, who is currently 5th in the championship, equal with Field, is chasing down Martin Johnson, and Burleson is just behind as well. He's dropped back quite a bit now. So up at the front, meanwhile, it's a 2-second gap. So Fletcher's not slowed down. He had a mistake, didn't he? But he's not slowed down too much. He's not. I don't think he's going to get it back though. Do you? 2 seconds?
No, I mean, this is such a difficult track, and we've seen already how close the lap times are with these guys to each other. I don't see him pulling that gap back. And to be honest, he's got Christo and Robert Fagg all over the back of him, so he needs to keep an eye on that, really.
Field now, right on the back of McGarity. As they're coming out the final corner, he'll have a run on McGarity here, so we'll stay with them.
Interesting with Simon, he's chosen to go for it and try and work his way up. I thought he may be tempted to take that P10 and sit there, but
he wants the points, doesn't he?
Yeah, absolutely, and you know, with his championship rivals, with Ellis and Richard Wilde having bad days, then it's, you know, it is a classic opportunity to make up some points.
And he's down the inside, you've got to give him credit for that. It was a nice clean manoeuvre. McGarrity's looking to come back at him, and no, he thinks better of it. That's not a very safe place to overtake, shall we say. We've seen a couple of incidents there already, and I think McGarrity might just drop off the back now. We'll have to see. Scott Malcolm, meanwhile, is further down in 8th position, holding that 8th position well to Stephen Hefford, who is just behind. Hefford is a man who has impressed thoroughly this season, perhaps not so much in the last race taking out Laura Bond, but in general scoring a lot better than he did last season and just generally showing his improved speed, Matt.
Yeah, absolutely, and you know, and Stephen's been around every single night. I mean, every time I signed into iRacing, he's been on here, and he's usually been doing some practice in the Kia. So he's one of these guys who's you know, his performance last year has clearly motivated him, and he's worked really hard to get to where he is, and that is paying off for him.
It's probably worth mentioning at this point that Laura Bonds has made her way back up to 15th after that poor grid start, because she got taken out in the last race. That's Damian Harrison just up in front in the Wix Racing, and just behind is Jerome Kaiser and last season's champion, the reigning champion, Ellis Stevens, who's currently in 17th place. Bond's going down the inside now.
Inside, yeah. It's another position for Laura. Those three, Laura, Jerome and Ellis, all started right at the back, and they've all come through together, so they're making some decent progress.
Looks like a bit of damage on the front of that Team Bianco car, though. Hopefully that's not slowing her down too much. Kaiser goes a bit wide there, and quite an easy overtake. I mean, she didn't even need the braking zone for that particular move.
No, she's on a bit of a mission. She's good with this, Laura. She looks like she's really smooth. She's not making any mistakes. The car looks nice and planted. So,
and with 3 laps to go, roughly, Nick McCarron is now 5 seconds ahead of this pack. So that's probably as high as she'll go. 14th place. It shows 15th on the screen, and it will do. Oh, and Harrison gets a little nudge from Kaiser, but survives there. I thought that could have been dramatic. But let's stay with Damian Harrison now, because he has 2 faster drivers behind him, and we'll just see what happens as this unfolds. And just out of interest, Fletcher is still on the back of Chepelewski by 2 seconds, and there's now a 4-second gap between the front two and Hristo Oblev, who's in 3rd. Oh, and Terry, sorry, we've missed this, but Terry's through. Terry has taken Robert Fagg somehow, but let's see if we can get a quick replay of that. We've missed that, so let's go back a bit further and see exactly what happened. So
there's a little bit of some games going on up here as well. Simon Field and Richard Wilde. Richard Wilde a lap down. He's trying to come back through or not, I don't know, but he's not making life particularly easy for Simon Field there.
Well, we can see Fagg now has got a poor exit from the last corner, and Terry just glides through. So Fagg is squirming though. I mean, his car, it looks to be a little bit damaged, you know, if you ask me. Don't know how he picked that up, but Simon Field now needs to get past the back marker in front of him, championship leader Richard Wilde, who's a lap down.
You're certainly not wrong. That car doesn't look happy, does it? It's got a bit of a wriggle on there, and it's, in fact, he's spun, does he, on the last corner?
He's off. He's just saved it, so another quick look at that as he comes into the final corner. You can see he's blinking.
Looks like
really
he's trying to
badly,
wrestle a pack of butter around the place, doesn't he? He's really struggling with it.
He's shedding time, and Simon Field, who has Richard Wilde between them, so
in fact he's lost it in turn 1.
He's lost it.
So he's got to have some damage. It looks like right rear. It's hard to tell.
And luckily he's safely off the track. He is blinking badly, so maybe it is for the best, but it won't be for the best from his point of view. So Field through. Field is now in 5th position. Fagg is dropping a few positions, still going. This could be Scott Malcolm's chance. You never know, he could make up another position here.
He could. Whether he'll want to, and whether again, this is what we were saying with the tactics with this race, with the reverse grid next time round. Will you want to make up an extra space, or will you want to stay where you are? Adam Terry is climbing all over the back of Hristo Oblev as well. I mean, he's really making a menace of himself with that.
So 2 laps to go here in round 8. It's anyone's game from about 3rd down to 8th, I'd say. But this man looks like he'll be taking the win once again. It's none other than Stelian Chepelewski. He's off the screen more than he's on the screen because he's blinking so much, but Fletcher is closing.
Yeah,
not.
Mark Fletcher's taken maybe just over half a second out of him the last couple of laps. He's definitely pushing. Adam Terry and Hristo Oblev having a good little battle there again as well.
Well, it's the last lap, so let's stay with this battle because this could be significant in the championship. Terry's looking to score heavily here, and Oblev has scored. Oh, and Terry's got a little wiggle on. He survives that one. Oblev has now got a little bit of a gap. I mean, the field's gone wide in the background. Field is off.
That is a fantastic save. That is a fantastic save. I mean, he's off and he's gonna lose some ground, but he did a hell of a job to hold on to that.
Well, let's just look at that from Simon Field's point of view, coming into that corner, and he's turning in a little bit wide, I'd say. Full 90-degree slide going on there, and well, his steering input is.
I think he's just got two wheels. He's got two wheels on the grass going into the corner, which has upset the back end because that is right at where you're braking. And from there, he's just kept his foot in it. And if you want a demonstration in how you stop a front-wheel drive car from spinning off, that's it.
So the race is over.
Fantastic save.
Chepolewski takes it. Fletcher second. Oblev third. Terry fourth. Field fifth. But Garrity will be coming through quite a long way back. In 6th, Fag 7th. Oh no, Fag dropped to 20th by the end of the race, I beg his pardon. So quite a lot of damage on that car by the looks of things. I'm showing 19th here. And Cats as well finished. Oh well, they're still going, so they're changing positions at the moment, but kind of 19th to 20th, so it's a shame. So coming back to the top 10, Malcolm looks like he's taken that 7th place. Matt, fantastic job.
That's a fantastic result for Scott, and you'll be well and truly happy with that. Laura Bond as well, P12. She's unlucky there. Craig Burleson gets the prime spot in P10.
So interesting. Team CQR in their first outing in the British Touring Car Championship here in iRacing is going to be taking the pole position in the final round. Chepolewski, meanwhile, will start from 10th place, but that won't put him off, will it? Because at Brands Hatch we saw him win 2 races and then come from 10th place and finish second.
Yeah, this is it. I mean, it's such a hard track to overtake on. We've seen that every time tonight. That it's going to be really interesting, and I think it's worth mentioning. Laura Bond, her own car, is a Ellis Stevens. It's a fantastic result from starting right at the very back. Those 3 really did well.
Johnson dropping a few places to make Laura Bond's 12th place possible there. So Bond 12th, Johnson 13th. Maybe if we can just bring this up on the screen temporarily. McCarran got the 11th, Bond 12th, Kaiser got 13th, Harrison got bumped down to 14th. Stevens, in fact, I'm showing different results. What are you showing for Martin Johnson, just out of interest? Because what's on my screen?
P17.
17. Well, I've got 13 and 20, so obviously we disagree on 3 different counts. So I'll believe you for now. So let's say 17. It's kind of in the middle. I don't know why we can't get more accurate results than that at the end of the race, which is a bit strange. But never mind. Hopefully our top 10 is present and correct. Oblev, though, how about Oblev? Never imagined he'd come through in 3rd place, but he's done it.
Yeah, it's a good result for him. And again, he's another one who's just sneaked into there and under the radar. And good to see Adam Terry getting some results again. As I said, he had a hard end to last year. He's worked himself really hard, so it's good to see him back up there.
I'm wondering now if we might be able to get a quick word with 6th place man Stephen McGarrity. Stephen, are you there? Some of these drivers will be taking a little break after the race, so not always possible to speak to every single one. Let's try Nick McCarran. He finished 11th in that race, unless I'm wrong about that one. But are you there, Nick?
Hello, mate.
Evening, Nick. Chris and Matt here on BSR TV. A nice result for you in the second race. Got to be happy with that. You just missed out on the top 10 on the reverse grid, though.
Yeah, it was a tough race. I had a really good race against Craig, actually.
Craig Burleson from CQR.
Yeah, he was keeping me behind pretty well. I think he was having a better run out of the last corner, which is the best overtaking chances, obviously, in the first corner.
And obviously it's a very difficult track to overtake on, but from 11th on the grid, you're going to have Chepolewski right up there in front of you, You tempted to make a little dive, maybe down the inside on the first corner?
I tend not to do that. Yeah, I just take it as it comes. If it looks like it's going to be a chance, then I will. But
And you're having a solid season so far, Nick. I mean, you're not exactly in a podium position at the moment, but finishing strongly and quite consistently as well. So looking good for you in the championship moving forwards.
yeah, well, who knows? I mean, I had a disconnect right at the beginning of the last race, so.
Yeah, it's unfortunate when that happens, but I mean, Richard Wilde, championship leader, also had a disconnect and missed out on any points this time round for reasons we didn't quite catch as well. So it can happen to anyone, and no one has finished every round so far strongly. And what we saw last season, of course, was that the strong finishers, the higher finishers, are the ones that have basically been consistent finishers, which generally is something you are, right?
Well, I hope so, but not always.
Well, we're trying not to put too much pressure on your shoulders, but starting from 11th in the final race. Thanks a lot for joining us, Nick.
Cheers, mate.
That's Nick McCarron from Team Club 44. And we didn't actually see Burton in that race, did we? Robert Burton finished... where did he finish?
23rd.
It was a pretty good finish, outside the points, but started from the back because he didn't qualify.
Yeah, and he'll have had no practice as well, which is always a good way to jump into a race with no practice and no experience of what's going to happen when you're running. So he did all right there to get 23rd, I think.
So that's our first official finish for Team BSR TV in the iRacing British Touring Car Championship, but unfortunately, no points as of yet. But
Nil point.
Yeah, nil point. We'll get some. We'll get some by the end of this. Don't you worry. Stephen Hefford, though, how about that? 7th place. It's got to be one of his best finishes ever in this particular series. He'll be delighted.
Yeah, he's another one who's going to be dancing around the living room in his underpants at the moment. That's another cracking result. I think between him and Scott, they'll be drinking. We know who's going to be propping the bar up for us later.
Yeah, but you've got to say, I mean, he'll be wanting to give some of those points to Laura Bond, surely, because it was kind of his fault that she didn't score in the first race.
Yes. I'm not entirely sure that's allowed within the rules, but you'd think that he would, as a gentleman, he would offer anyway.
Of course, no, you can't do that in the rules, but he's feeling slightly guilty for that, nonetheless. One final race coming up here